A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. Hello and welcome back to Oversharing. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Dr. Naomi Bernstein.
Happy almost dead week. We're at December 23rd, so it's about to be that reset week. I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of complaining emails about people's families during the holidays.
Yeah, for sure. There is usually an uptick before and after, right around the holidays. People are like, I need help with my family. So you guys can do it. You're in it. You got this.
And when you're feeling triggered, just leave us a voicemail.
Yeah.
and at least it will be for someone else's entertainment.
Yes.
You know? Like it won't be for nothing.
On the way there, on the way back, call us, give us the tea.
Yes.
Let us know what's going on.
Bonus.
We're here to help.
Bonus if there's screaming people or children in the background.
Oh, I would love that. Just call us and then just like let it play.
Yes.
With the craziness. That would be a good one. And we'll get the real receipts.
Yes, the real raw materials. But okay, so I wanted to share a little dog parenting tiff that Mike and I have been in.
Okay, is this your first real parenting tiff, or have you had
difference of opinion?
Yes.
I think I think we have different. He likes to tell anyone we have very different parenting styles.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, this is the warm up. This is the practice run.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm think a little maybe more like you, a little more type B, a little more like hands off. I'm just gonna like give him love and he'll be okay. But we dropped him off at a daycare for, I think I mentioned this last week, for our niece's bat mitzvah. So we were gone for like till really late. So we dropped him off at an overnight daycare. We picked him up the next day. Mike picked him up. He said he was like happy to see him, but like it seemed like he was having a good time. Like he wasn't, when you pick him up from the groomer, he's like, oh my God, where have you been? Get me out of here. Like, this is the most traumatic. Like he was like happy to see him, but also like not so happy. Right. Not so happy that it was like, I was worried.
Right.
But then he got home, and I think I mentioned this. He had like some like a little diarrhea, and then the next day he was just like sleeping the whole day. And I noticed he like couldn't really walk down the stairs. He was like kind of limping. So we took him to the vet, and I don't know if there was like a cut or a laceration of some sort on his paw.
Oh,
we're not sure if it was a bite or a scratch, or he was. It's funny. The vet was like, oh, yeah, well, like it was his first time there. So of course I'm like, what is this, prison?
Right.
Like you got to like get hit the first day.
Right,
I'm like, I didn't know that was like a
initiation.
Thing. Right.
Like doggie daycare initiation.
Hazing of the new kid.
Right. Yeah, what does that exactly mean?
I don't know what it meant, but the vet said it, which is not even the daycare people, like the vet said it, which I thought was a very bizarre thing to say. Like that was like, of course, gonna happen. But he so they gave him, he has like, so it's the laceration like on the bottom of his one of his legs, the front legs. And Mike took him to the vet, and he brought him back, and he had this big plastic cone around his head, which he and I both hate.
Yeah.
And he's like walking around, he's like knocking into everything.
Oh, I know, it's so pathetic when they have those. Yeah.
And at this point, I mean, he's better now, but at this point, he's like also really just like sick, like lethargic and just not himself, and like sleeping all day, and clearly like he had a fever when they brought him in. I think they thought it was maybe from the cut. So they gave him the cone, and I'm like looking at the cut. They like shaved the area to see the cut, and so I could see the cut. But they haven't covered the cut. So I'm like, I don't really feel like I don't want to put him in this cone, which is, he's already sick. He already feels uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to watch him like bouncing around, like knocking into stuff on this cone, or like sleeping on this like cold plastic cone, which doesn't feel comfortable. Like, I can't handle seeing him like that.
Right.
And Mike is like, no, like he needs to wear it. It's for the vet, so he doesn't like lick it. I'm like, the thing is on the bottom of his leg. Whenever he's sitting down on the floor and he sits outside, he sits inside, like it's going all over the floor. Like, don't you think that's going to infect it more than his saliva?
Right.
And he's like, this,
good point.
He's very much like, this is what the vet said. Like, this is what the vet said, so this is what we're going to do. Like, he's very like defers to authority.
Yeah. And
I'm like, well, I know like they are an expert, but I'm he's my dog. Like, I don't think it's worth it. It's like, he doesn't even have the energy to be like licking this thing. So we're like fighting on and off about like, like every time I'm kind of like secretly taking the coat off.
Oh
and
gosh. Right.
He's getting upset with me. And then he's like, if it gets infected, it's going to be on you. And he's like, I think he would be fine with it if you were like, I think you're more upset about it than he is.
Right.
So this was like kind of an ongoing thing where I kind of won out, where I was like, I just don't get it. He's like, move it. If it's not, I was like, if it was covered, if there was a bandage, I could understand, but it's
right.
Not,
it's literally on the bottom of his paw where he's walking all over the place, inside,
it's like
outside.
It's not like the paw. It's like the leg, like behind the leg. But like when he lies down, it's like on the floor, like not the top
he's not
of the
walking
leg.
on it.
No, he's not walking on it, but it is. But it is. He's sitting on it.
Right.
Again, it's going against the floor, and I'm like, it's not really protected. So then he makes me come with him to the follow-up vet appointment so that the vet can tell me why he.
Good move. I like it.
Right. And the vet's like, yeah, well, there's like a different kind. I'm not even really believing what she's saying. She's like, there's a different kind of bacteria in his like mouth when he licks it than on the floor.
Okay.
Like we leave it uncovered because it like needs to breathe. And he's got to wear the cone. So I bought him a donut. Instead, have you ever seen those donuts?
It's like softer.
Yeah, like a little it looks like a neck pillow, basically.
Oh, okay.
It just goes around his head. And I'm like, great. This is like a great in between. He actually seems to like that because he can like perch on it.
Right.
And also the cone, like he couldn't like eat or drink with the cone because it went so far beyond his face. So I couldn't even like give him like a bone to chew on, because if he dropped it, he couldn't pick it up because the cone was like
so sad.
I know. Where I'm just kind of like, there's like what the vet says, but they don't live with him day to day. I don't know if they're measuring his overall happiness versus like risk.
No, they are there to like keep him healthy and alive. They're not there to keep him comfortable.
Right. But I think that's part of my role, is to keep him comfortable. And if we're going to be out and about like during the day, I don't want him to not be able to drink water if he was just really sick so we had so we compromised on the inflatable thing, but it turns out he can get past the
lick. I was going to say, if it's like not extending past his face.
Yeah, I think because he has a longer like snout, it's not really.
So he is licking this wound.
He's trying, but I think he makes like, see, I'm like, he's licking like the side of it, the top of it. It's not the main thing.
I think
and it's
I
just
kind
like,
of.
Yeah.
I think
you can rule in couples court.
Couples court. I think I agree with Mike on this one. I get it. I know it's so hard, only from experience. Like, I am also the type B parent, and I have been in this situation. Like, I remember Lila got stitches on her foot, and you were supposed to keep the stitches dry. And we were going on vacation, and the big appeal was like there was going to be a swimming pool on this trip. And I was kind of like, just wrap it in a plastic bag and go have fun. And like thinking, all right, what's the big deal? The stitches got a little wet, like we'll dry it. And long story short, like she had to have stitches for like 2 extra weeks because stitches got wet, and it was annoying. And like, is this on her foot? Thankfully, but now she has kind of like a scar there that is probably bigger than the scar that she would have had if I would have just been like, I'm sorry, you're not going in the pool.
Right.
And there've been a couple of occasions like that, such to the point that now she is like the type A parent, and she's kind of like, wait, didn't the doctor say I'm like not supposed to, wear socks? And I'm like, oh, right. Okay, take the socks off, or whatever the thing is. Like,
well, that must make it a lot easier for you, right?
Yeah,
that she's like more, you know what I mean? Like more.
Yeah, but it's because I've like traumatized her by not properly taking care of her wounds. Right. And she's like, I can't trust this woman.
Right. Is there a feeling that is that like a feeling that you're having? Like she doesn't trust you to take care of her?
Yeah, I think so. When it comes, because I think we had a mom that was a doctor, and she was always just like, taking care of things herself, that we didn't really go to the doctor. And she's so many of
us that she wasn't like that concerned over.
Right. So like I kind of took that parenting style, and I think now she, like, if she has a thing, like she got like an ingrown toenail, and she had like a bad experience with it where I was like, it's nothing. And then it like got infected. And so now she's like, if you say it's nothing, it means nothing to me. Like, I don't trust you. I would like to see a doctor. So because I've lived this, I think if you can handle it, and it's not like you're maybe at some point going to deal with sleep training, which this is going to seem like a walk in the park compared to like, a crying baby. And look, do whatever you want with that. But I think if it's a matter of his head resting on like plastic, if he's not like he's crying or like,
right. It's just fun when you get home and he's just like
it really is kind of pathetic, especially if he like drops his treat down there and then he's like,
I don't know. It's like, how could I watch this?
It's not a good look. It kind of feels sad, but you can do it.
Right. And you're right. It'll be over sooner if he just like wears it, as opposed to prolonging whatever this.
Yes. If he's licking it
or something.
Yes, totally. I would do the right thing, get it done, and it'll be over.
I just wish Ronnie was like Lila and was like, no, I need the cone. That's what the vet said. Ronnie always sides with me.
Yes. Yes, totally.
He's always pro most comfort for Ronnie.
Right. Yeah. So maybe like once he gets the message that like he can't really, trust your soft parenting style, he'll come over and get the cone in his mouth and bring it over to you.
Bring it over to me.
Put it on.
Yeah, I need this. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully he doesn't have to wear it much longer, because it makes me more mentally uncomfortable than almost I think it makes him physically uncomfortable.
Yeah, I hear you.
I guess that's part of parenting.
That is like parenting in a nutshell. So I think this is going to be, that's one, in my opinion, one of the hardest things about parenting is like allowing your kids to be uncomfortable for their own good.
Right. And not trying to just like give them whatever they think they need or want.
Yes, totally.
All right. Well, let's get into your problems.
Yes.
If you have a voicemail, you can leave us a voicemail at 646-363-6294, or you can email us at oversharing@betches.com. You get 2 subscription. If you want to subscribe, you get 2 subscription bonus episodes per month. Also, all the episodes ad-free and a day early, or you can join one of Dr. Naomi's therapy groups. I'm sure people are, it's a fun time of year, but I'm sure it's a very stressful time of year for a lot of people. So I think these groups could really help people. If you want to dip your toe into a group therapy setting, how do they do so?
Totally. Come find us, naomibernstein.com. You can learn all about the groups on my website, find out a little bit more about what we do in there. We are currently back to doing our ego mapping exercise, which is really interesting. Try to figure out like where we got our sense of selves from, going back in time a little bit. As we go back to our childhood homes or spend time with family, those things tend to come to the surface. So, naomibernstein.com. Come join us.
Sounds fun. Little fun Christmas activity.
Yes.
Ego mapping. Yeah. instead of the movies. All right, let's do an overshare. I will read it.
All right.
Dear Jordana and Dr. Naomi, thank you both for all that you do. You truly make my commutes to work so much more bearable. I have a dilemma I'd love to get your takes on. This might be a long one, but here goes nothing. I, 30 female, and my husband, 30 male, recently got into an argument about how I'm spending one of my Christmas holiday days with one of my best friends. For context, my best friend and I love to go all out for each other's birthdays and Christmas. Our plans usually involve an activity like a spa day or a fancy dinner. This year, we thought it would be fun to try a Michelin star restaurant in our town. We're both big foodies and thought it would be a memorable experience. We know it's pricey, but we've been saving up and it feels worth it to us. When I told my husband about the plan, he got upset. He said it was a waste of money and that I should save my money for something else. He also admitted that it hurt his feelings that I wanted to do this with my friend instead of with him, even though I've suggested this restaurant for our anniversaries in the past, and he's always declined because of the price, which I've respected. I was hurt by his reaction because it's my money and it's not like I haven't tried to share this experience with him before. About a month later, he apologized and said he reacted that way because he was jealous, that he wanted me to save a special activity like this for him. I told him I understood, but reminded him that I had invited him to the same restaurant multiple times, long before it even got the Michelin star. I explained that I still want to go with my friend because she'll genuinely enjoy it, while I worry he wouldn't since he'd be focused on the cost. We haven't discussed it again since, and my friend and I are still planning to go. So my dilemma is, how can I tell my husband that I'm still going to this restaurant with my friend in a way that doesn't hurt his feelings or make it seem like I'm prioritizing her over him for special occasions? Thank you both again. A Michelin tier Betch.
All right. I get the dilemma. She invited him several times. He said no. And she's kind of like, well, I'm not going to, if you don't want to do this, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to find someone else to do it. I think the more complicated, that part sounds totally reasonable.
Yeah.
The more complicated part comes when he comes back with his vulnerability and says, I'm actually just jealous. I would have loved to do something like this with you. Almost like, okay, we're going to spend the money. Then I'd rather, if we're actually going to do it, I'd rather it be me. Right. And she's still kind of like, nah, I think I'd rather do it with her because she's going to not be neurotic and annoying and stressed out about the money the whole time.
Right. She's a more fun person to do this particular activity with.
Right.
Which I totally get. I mean, like, I had this with Mike with like sports stuff where I was kind of like him, where in the beginning of our relationship, I would go to, like, he would want to go to golf tournaments or basketball games, and I would go with him because I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go to like the fun thing that you're doing with you. But now I'm like, now that we've been together a while, I think that I see the importance of people doing things with people who are more fun to do them with.
Right.
So I'm like, you should go to the golf game with your dad or your friend or someone who's going to really like it because it's expensive. And it's like, why waste it on me? And we'll do something that you and I both really value.
Right.
And you and I will both really like get the most out of. But if it's something that I'm not going to be adding to, like, I don't know anything about this stuff. I don't really care. I could take it or leave it. The money is kind of wasted on me on like a good seat for a game that I don't particularly feel about. I think it's like a little immature that he's not seeing it that way.
Right. I do get it. I think the part where I would push back is like, maybe he's willing to change. Like, I think until when he comes back with some vulnerability, and also like, you're spending the money anyway. Like, I think him saying no initially was like, no, let's not spend on that. And now she's kind of like, well, I'm doing it with or without you. Then he wants to be like, okay, fine, then I'll go. Which I get your point. I think your perspective is like, go enjoy it with your friend. She's going to enjoy it more. I think in this case, like, he probably would love a delicious 5-star Michelin restaurant meal. He just didn't think, you guys should spend the money on it. but maybe he could come around, and maybe it's not for this particular one because you've made a plan with your friend. I don't think it's right to kind of be like, actually, sorry, going to cancel on you. My husband wants to now go. He said no, but now he changed his mind. Like, I don't think that's nice.
Right.
You could maybe include him and the three of you could go. Obviously, that makes it more expensive. But I would give a little wiggle room if he's kind of like, okay, let's grow together. I'm going to see if this is something that like I could go to and like wrap my head around and enjoy it and not get stuck on like, oh my God, are you sure you want to order that? Oh my God, that's like $64. Like, are you really going to get that? If he does that, that's annoying. But maybe you should give him the opportunity, whether you include him on this one or you go next year or something and allow him a chance to see if this is something that he would want to experience with you. I think it's a conversation
Right.
that you should have with him, which is like, hey, I'm going to go to this one with my friend, but if this is something that you've changed your mind about and feel like you'd like to lean into, then let's do it. Like there might be a moment where you're kind of like, hey, I could, get into, like, I know a lot of men and women where like one person, typically the guy is like a fan of a team. And when they get married, you're not really into it. And then after a while, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of jump on this ship. This is fun. I'm going to like root for the Chiefs and I'm going to get this t-shirt and like, I'm going to go to the game and I'm going to like actually end up really getting into it and like caring about this. And I have seen that happen where you can kind of take on someone's interests. I wouldn't keep trying, especially for like a $500 dinner. If it doesn't work, you don't need to keep like pushing on it. But I would say maybe you can give him a chance to see if you can enjoy this together. Maybe he's wrapped his head around it or been forced to wrap his head around it.
I see that perspective. I understand it, and I think it's worth a try. But they didn't just start dating. I feel like they're married. She's been trying to do this for a while. To me, the better solution, and I think this is like an option, especially if her friend wouldn't mind her inviting him if that's what she wants to do or get into it in the future. But like, to be a better option would be like, all right, well, what feels like a special activity that the two of us really enjoy?
Right.
Like, why don't we plan something that, because it almost feels like you're like trying to change, like you're taking away the individuality of one person and what their likes and dislikes. And it's like, and also like the idea that she could have a life and a really great experience with a friend. And I feel like friendships are really valuable also. Like maybe it's okay to have like a friendship, great experience that has nothing to do with the other person.
Right. Totally.
That's based on your own separate, really like unique friendship. And she's strengthening that friendship by continuing this tradition with her friend where they go all out for each other's birthdays. Like, I almost feel like there's a fear in him of like her bonding with someone else more than him or something like that. I think it could be like, because it could be that they planned something else for the two of them during this break that they both really like, that would be like less of a swimming against the tide kind of situation.
Yeah, I could see that too. I do. Maybe the underlying issue is he's like, you're not planning something for us that's going to cost $500 or whatever it is. Like, I'm sure, I wonder if she's like, and there's only so much money to go around. So and this might be something for them to talk about. Like, if you're going to spend a large amount of money, I wonder if he feels like, why aren't you spending it on me or on us or on like creating a memory and an experience? But I do get what you're saying. Cause like, I think in a lot of couple relationships, it's like you get all the person's time, you fall asleep together at night, you wake up in the morning, you prioritize each other, you call when you're coming late for dinner. Like sometimes it is nice to say, I'm going to devote some of my resources to maintaining a friendship. I totally agree with that. And that oftentimes does go way in the backseat when you have a primary relationship that's not a friendship. So
yeah, or to have an optimal experience with someone who like also just feels just as excited about it. Like he could go, and I'm sure it's food. I'm sure he'll enjoy the food, but it's like, it won't be like he won't be like as into it as someone who really, that's like their thing. Like she said, she and her friend are foodies. And I do think that's important in a couple, is to just give people room to like get into the things that they love, even if they don't include you. It's like a nice, I mean, it almost feels like like you're talking about money. Of course, if there's limited money, or if there's limited vacation days and you're taking them on 7 bachelor parties,
right?
See how that would be annoying. But I do think that's like almost like the crux of the issue. It's like, can we have lives where we enjoy and love each other and do things together, but also where we also have separate, also full lives without each other?
Right. Full experiences with other people. Totally. I do think the complicating factor is when you're married, you're sharing finances. So it almost can take like the romance out of it in some ways, where you're like, oh, we have to like plan and budget. And so like collectively, the best thing for our family is to not go to a super fancy restaurant so that we can whatever, pay the electric bill, or like save to renovate this thing or move or whatever. But her and her friend, they're both kind of like, this is just the thing that we're going to do. And we're going to spend money on this. And it's not like this financial complicated building, well thought out situation. It's just like, I get that. I have friends like that too, where it's kind of like, when we're together, we're just going to kind of like go crazy because it's so fun to just like spend money together and like go shopping or whatever. Whereas like, I think if Jeff was like, let's just like go shopping today and like spend a bunch of money, I might be like, what, are you crazy? Like, you've got bills to pay, you know?
But she does say like, it's my, like, it sounds like she's using her personal, not like their joint funds for this.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, everything is kind of like joint to an extent if you're like, you know,
building towards
something together. Yeah. So I think that's the complicating factor. But overall, I do agree with you. I love the idea of like putting some resources towards friendships, because so much of our resources go towards our significant others. So I do like that. I don't think she has to invite him, but I do stand by the stance, I think, because I've seen this happen in couples, and I've experienced this with this exact same thing around like fine dining, where like when we grew up, there was no fine dining. Like we weren't going out to nice restaurants. And when I first met Jeff, I was kind of like, this is such a waste of money. Like, we go here, we spend all this money, we leave, we have nothing to show for it. And like, he likes wine. Like, you drink a bottle of wine and then like it's gone. And like, now I kind of have a hangover and like a large credit card bill. But I leaned into it. And like, now I can kind of quiet the noise in my head around going out to nice dinners and just like relax and enjoy it. And when that voice pops in my head of like, oh my God, $25 appetizer. It's crazy. And sometimes I still will like have the thought, and then I'm like, okay, we're here. It's an experience. Enjoy it. And then we've been able to enjoy it because I've kind of like done the work to try to lean into something that I know he enjoys. So I do think there's a little balance here, leaning into something your partner enjoys, or at least trying to.
Right.
But also I agree. Leave resources for your friends. And I think it's okay that she does this alone.
And I would say if I were her, she wants to know how to broach this. I would say, listen, this is a tradition I've had with this friend who's this really great friend of mine. We really enjoy it. It's our thing together. Mm-hmm. I understand it's expensive. I've been budgeting specifically for this. Of course, I want to do really special and fun activities with you, but let's do so. This is how I would do it. What have you been wanting to do we have this time off between Christmas break. What have you been wanting to do for a while now? Like, what do we both really love? We should find a way to do that activity. I don't know if it's a Broadway show or if it's a sporting event or something like that, or even something he maybe even likes a little more than you do, like if it's sports or whatever, like let's also do that.
Right.
And we'll make that a special event. Like we can do multiple things for multiple people.
Yeah. I think underlyingly what I would ask about, I like that. And I would say, like you mentioned, you were jealous. Like, do you feel like I don't put the same effort towards creating special experiences for us together? And maybe that's more where it's coming from, is like you take the time to spend the money, make the plan, call ahead, make the reservation, and maybe he wants some of that energy coming towards planning a date with him. So maybe he feels like that's not happening in the same way. Maybe it doesn't have to be this date. I agree. It could be a different date, but maybe she's not doing any of that with him.
Right. But that could also open the door of like, what is he planning for you?
Right. Yeah.
Like, are we investing in our relationship? Are we investing in making special moments? And also like, I think a bigger conversation here is like, what is our collective view towards money and how we spend money and how we're going to be, because this is not the last difference of opinion on what something is worth you guys are going to spend. I think that's like a great thing to hash out as soon as you can early in your relationship. Like, what is our like monetary financial philosophy as a family?
Right. Totally. Because it is, I mean, look, we have one of our annual sort of couples trip coming up, and it's really important to us. Like we have to set aside that time and the money to have that connected experience between the two of us. Like I do think it is important to say, like, are there certain experiences that you feel like you want to have with me that are going to help maintain our connection and do fun things together, and we need to create a budget for that. Or maybe you can do it in a less expensive way just by whatever. But like, yeah, talking about what's important to you financially, and also like, what is it going to take to maintain our romantic connection? And sometimes you do have to put some money into doing that.
Right. Yeah. And here's the budget that I have for myself for things that are outside of our relationship that bring me a lot of joy that maybe aren't worth it for you monetarily. You should have the same thing.
Right. If you want to go on a boys trip or
buy tickets to a game or something like that. Like there should be, and I do believe that in relationships, there should be like some funds for that you don't need to run by someone that are for you, that are like your discretion. Like I do think it's still important to have financial autonomy and like an ability to do things for yourself that are just about your decision.
Yep.
Obviously not all of it because you're a couple, but
that's I do like the idea of having that, not just like a budget and then there's like a recreation section of the budget. Within the recreation section of the budget, there's like recreation that's like for us as a couple, and recreation that's like for your own whims of whatever you want, and for my own whims of whatever I want.
That has nothing to do with the other person, right?
Right.
Yeah. So bigger conversation probably than he's going to want to have.
Yeah.
But I think it will probably be really helpful in the long term.
But I do like that he came to her and said, I feel jealous. Like that's a great start. He's open to having like a vulnerable conversation about this. What is he jealous of? Is it the time? Is it the money? It doesn't sound like it's the restaurant. So that might be a good question to ask.
Agreed. All right. Good luck. Let's do a Betchicist.
All right. I will read this. Hi, ladies, and congratulations, Jordana. A quick dilemma I've been struggling with. As with a lot of group gifts, I end up taking on more of the cost if it ends up being higher than the estimate. Do the research to find the best store to buy it from at the best price, organize shipping, etc. If there's ever any discount at checkout, needless to say, that is the total that I split. For the most recent event, a friend and I recently bought another friend a birthday gift. She never treats herself, so we wanted to get her a nice pair of pajamas. She does so much for us throughout the year and makes significantly more money, so we thought this shared gift was something nice and within our means to get her. Now for the dilemma. I ordered this gift 2 weeks before the Black Friday sales began. I saw that the company was running a Black Friday special, so I emailed them for a price adjustment, getting almost $50 back. Am I wrong to not Venmo half of that back to the friend who split the gift with me? In my mind, she hasn't asked about a price adjustment, did nothing to order the gift except Venmo me and recommend a color. Part of me thinks it's stealing from her. The other part thinks I put in the work to organize it and noticed the price adjustment opportunity in the first place. Is it wrong not to tell her about or offer the benefits of the price adjustment? Signed, an unintentional Grinch Betch.
Yeah, I think she's got to give her half.
So do I.
Because it was her. I mean, she says like she's the one doing all the work, a lot of these things, or for a lot of these times. I think that's sort of like a personality type. I would assume, I assume that's something she's volunteering to do.
Right.
To an extent. And to me, it wouldn't be worth $25 to think that I was in any way cheating my friend out of something. I think it builds goodwill to be like, I found this deal. I emailed them. I mean, it'd be nice if she was thankful for the work that you put into that, or
right.
after you got this gift, she said, I appreciate you searching for and finding and orchestrating everything. But to not do it feels shady.
Yeah, I would feel really weird getting the money back and not sending it to her. I do think it's an indication that maybe she's more resentful about this role than she thought. If she's considering taking this fee for herself. So
that's funny the way to put it. Fee.
Right.
So, right.
If you don't like doing this, or you feel again, some people love planning a party and some people don't. And so if you love planning a party, then plan the party and hopefully everyone's appreciative and nice, but you kind of like to plan the party or buy the gift or whatever it is. But if you don't, then I think next time you can just be more of the delegator, if
right.
Next time a gift comes around, you can kind of do the thing where you're like, hey, would love to get so-and-so a gift. Would you mind looking into this? Or even if you found the discount after, if she bought the gift and it's on her email, the receipt, to say, oh, saw there was a sale. Why don't you, would you mind checking in and seeing if you can get us some money back? I do think you have to ask for what you want. And if you said to her, hey, would you mind checking into and seeing if you can get the money back for this? And she was like, nah, really don't think it's worth it. I'm pretty busy. And you look into it at that point, then I think maybe you can keep the money.
Right.
If you're like, hey, why don't you, I need some help with this thing. I'd like to get this extra $50. And she says, no, not really worth it to me. In this case, I think maybe you need to be a little bit more assertive or delegate if what you're looking for is more help. If not, you're choosing this role, you're taking it on. I think you have to own it.
Yeah. And if you feel like everyone is loafing off of your bargain hunting, and not, don't do joint gifts.
Right.
Someone wants to go in on a gift with you, say, I actually already got my own thing.
Yes.
If you're tired of, doing this for other people, if you kind of just want to do it on your own.
Yeah, I agree. Or like I said, I think it's okay to, I think in relationships, that is a problem that a lot of people have, is just asking for what you need. If you would like help.
Could you do this?
Yes. Yeah. Could you please, especially if you've done it 10 out of 10 of the last times, the next time you could say, hey, would love to get a gift. Could you please X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be, some people just need a little direction and they just need kind of someone to be remind them or ask or initiate. And then hopefully, and then it's also a good way for you to figure out, is that really what you want?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's funny because some people do kind of take on these roles and become the default person. But I think it's kind of because of a consensus of everyone that they don't mind doing it because they haven't said anything.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll do this if I'm in the city and I get dinner with friends who live in the city. I'll suggest, I'll just be find a restaurant that's kind of convenient for everyone and make the reservation. But sometimes I'm I don't really especially if they've asked me to get dinner or something like that. Sometimes I'm there's ways to say it without sounding like angry or like an asshole. You could just say like, yeah, would love to get dinner. I don't really have time to like look for a restaurant, but let me know a good spot and I'll be there.
Right.
You get less control. I don't get to like pick the location that's closest to the train.
That's it too,
But-
right? I think a lot of times the people that do generally take this on, if she were to pick pajamas from like, you know, Walmart and was like, hey, found these awesome pajamas. They're only like $25. You might be like, that's not exactly the vibe I was going for. Like I was looking for like a luxury pajama brand or whatever. Now you have to kind of give up the control over what your vision for this gift. So I think that does happen sometimes is people who take on this role, it's because they don't trust other people are going to do it the way they want to do it.
Right.
So
if you want it done a certain way, continue to do it. If you want to make sure you guys get the discount, then you do it. But if you're doing it something on behalf of a group, the discount is on behalf of the group.
Yeah, agree.
You can't do a secret finder's fee. Because if I found out someone did that and pocketed it, I would think of that they were like, she probably would never find out. But if I did find that out, I would think they were like kind of cheap and shady.
Yeah, that would be pretty. And let's say, I mean, you could get caught if she was like, oh my God, I just saw those pajamas are on sale for $50 less. Now you'd have to be really sketchy and like lie. So.
Right. Not worth it.
Not worth it.